demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act. Demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act.
Okay. We're here. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to the DOXX Report. Retired, 72 years of age, senior citizen receiving Social Security payments. In addition, a MAGA member and proud of it. I live a holistic, that is mind, body, spirit, life. Break it down, that's fitness, spiritual lifestyle, keeping my mind right. Where do I broadcast from? Well, that's an interesting question. Frank, where do we live, Frank?
Del Boca Vista.
All right, thank you, Frank. And that would be in Central Florida, very near the villages. And we will have more villages, clips, and activities, and road construction. And driving hazard, I almost had a mishap in my CR Toyota Corolla. It's terrible. This is my personal YouTube channel, vlog, citizen journalism account, and my generalized social online platform. Welcome. Thank you for joining me, and thank you for keeping it civil. And let's see, who do we have in the house here? We got 7 people watching. Yeah, Tenzil, I have to get a broader audience. And your suggestion there, which I'll leave up there, would not increase a broader audience. So I have to play to a Central Florida senior population, 55 and above, and that's not going to cut it. But thank you for the offer, but that will not be happening. I have no interest there. What's on the agenda today? Well, I don't have an agenda. What's on the outline? No notes, no agenda, but I do have an outline. Let me get it up here. You know, I do a little show prep. So I do appreciate the comments, but I got plenty of material. The weather, it's going to be hot. It's 90 to 93 degrees already. You know, the rain, we had a good rain yesterday, and just enough. Sunday was great. Everything, isn't it green out there? Yeah, it's beautiful. Except my plants at the front door. I showed you these. Didn't I show you these? And these, I think I took them down. Yeah, because I think I killed them. I learned an interesting thing about watering. The plants do not need water. They need moisture. They need access to moisture, not water, not sitting in water. So I had these beautiful New Guinea impatiens, they call them, and just dark green foliage and red leaves, and then they started going bad. You know, they're just not draining. I tried to treat them like the succulents you see there in the bird cage. I can go out there every couple of weeks or a week passes, and I can kind of fill up the bottom. I'm not going to fill up so much now, and just let the water soak up. and they're fine. But the outside, it was just the capillary action was taking the water all the way up, because I thought it really needed a lot of water, but it doesn't need to sit in the water. And so, oh my God, they died. I had to cut them to stems. But here's the good news. Life is very tenacious. It hangs on. And these things have adapted for millions of years. New Guinea, where they're from originally, gets 90 inches of rain. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, here we go. Yeah, you can hear me. So they learn to adapt. And of course, they've had different weather patterns and climates through the year, the ages. So they've adapted. Notice I didn't use the word evolve. And so from now on, I'm going to leave the bottom. I used to put water in the bottom. I mean, fill it right up, the pan that's supposed to catch the water. And of course, it would just go up there all the way to the top by capillary action, and it just doesn't need that. So from now on, I'm watering a little bit from the top, let it go down, and then the bottom will catch the excess water if there's any. Now, the lizards and the geckos and the anoles may not like it or the snakes, because they're not going to be able to drink from it anymore. But the good news is there's there's a green leaf on the one closest to the street, and then on the inside I got a couple leaves. So there may, like I say, life is tenacious, so I maybe can pull them back, get them back somehow. And remember those. Well, we got comments. I guess I should acknowledge the comments. Chili Badger, Dachshund Dude, cycling home with AirPods. Look at this. Well, don't go off the road, Chili Badger, Dachshund Chat Dudes, cycling home with my headset on. Well, that kind of embarrasses me, especially if people listen to me at work or in a car. A mega value customer. Why are 75% of the prescriptions written for the GLP-1 drugs like Ozempic for women? Why do you think? What's a women? Come on, girls, you know that. It's their figure. It's their selling point. They got to keep the beauty. Why do I see more? Well, at the fitness center, actually, there are more guys there. Well, I think it's kind of split. But as you age, keep the weight off, keep the attraction. Why do they wear lipstick? Why do they have their hair done? They want to be attractive. Not only men, but what's the biggest critic of a woman? Another woman. Don't doubt me. Before I forget, I stumbled across Howard Stern is letting a lot of people go on his, is he still at Sirius? I don't even know. So the staff is gone. So I looked up the staff. I don't even know I've never heard of these people. Well, one I've heard of. But I remember listening back in the late 90s, early 90s with Howard Stern. He was on the Las Vegas radio. It was funny as hell, but, if you're just an intern there, jobs end, and that's not, I guess he's producer still with him. I don't know. So I just let it go. I thought it was interesting, but I pull it up and I saw these guys. I said, never heard of them. Only one. All the others have been, you got to move on eventually as an intern. And World Cup news. We all know who won between England and, why do I have France? Oh, no. Yeah, we all know who won. Spain won over Argentina. I feel bad for the Peso Cannon, who I haven't heard from in a while. But the best game was for third place between France and England. See, that's what America wants to see, that game. And it never happens when you get a 6-4. I watched it, and I watched a little highlights, so I'm a little familiar with football, European, world football. And France was just, they didn't care the first half. They're sloppy. One guy made a pass for the first goal. It was like, I could have intercepted it. It was just a lazy long pass, and it was taken away, and the guy scored. And it's like, okay, this is it. We know who's going to win this one. And then, second half, it flipped. And then England played defense, or, we call it here in American football, you start playing defense. no score. You just back off a little bit. You don't want to be aggressive. You just back off, and you rely on your defense. So then it flipped, but England won. But it was a great game for American tastes. Okay, but as the announcer says, this never happens. You don't fall behind that far. Where they had like 3 goals or something, and then you come back. It's very rare, but an exciting game. And the winner, of course, is Spain. Congratulations to Spain, and congratulations to England, I guess, for taking 3rd place. Okay. Oh, and that first plant, those lilies I showed yesterday, they're red. I saw my first hummingbird from my residence. And it was definitely a hummingbird because I was into them in Las Vegas. I've seen a lot of, I know all the species. And there's only one here. Well, in fact, let's bring them up. Let's bring them up here. These are your hummingbirds in Florida. Now, the ruby-throated one is right here, the top left. Can you see that? I hope you can see that. And that's the male. The males have all the color. So that's the one east of the Mississippi or the East Coast. But now all these others, they claim to go through. But now I've definitely seen this one, the Calupi, is it? I've seen this one in Las Vegas. The broad-tailed I've seen in Las Vegas. The rufous I saw one time. It migrates from Mexico to Alaska. I thought it looked like a big beetle, but it was that color. And let's see, not that. The black-chinned, that's a common one in Las Vegas. And I've seen nests. I've seen their eggs. I've seen them copulate out on the back. Brutal. It's like 2 leopards mating. I've seen them knock each other out of the air. I'm talking about hummingbirds. Very aggressive. And the Anna's hummingbird, the Costa one I really like. It's from Arizona. It has a really unique sound. And then the Anna is the one that dives. It'll go up like 100 feet, 150 feet. It'll come down and do a U-turn. It'll put on the brakes like instantly, and you hear a click. I think it's the tail, or it's whipping the tail or something. And beautiful. So I saw my first hummingbird at the residence. Now, well, Lex, why don't you put out a sugar feeder like you did in Las Vegas? Because ants are relentless here. I mean, it's a whole, I don't want to attract any ants. And I've been there, I've done that. I was spoiled in Las Vegas because I had 5 species. And we'll go back up here, ruby-throated, upper left. But I had a bunch of species in Las Vegas, so I don't even want to put the feeder out here. I don't need any more. I don't need to go to war with the ants, if you know what I mean. All right, remove that. And there's your hummingbird report. I think it was an Anna, but it wasn't a male because it was kind of just really a drab coloring. Like it didn't even have and now I'm looking through the golf screen. It didn't have a green back. It was kind of brown looking. Maybe it was immature or something. But now when I was overlooking at the between the houses when they had the sinkhole around the corner, I cut through some houses between 2 homes, and I saw this bush, and I thought, oh, look at that. They got an ornament on the bush. No, it was a ruby-throated hummingbird, the full color. That was the male. But this is the first one I've seen in my house. All right, and people are golfing. So now I got to tell you about my near accident at Del Boca Vista. As you leave Del Boca Vista, I like to make a quick right and go down to the light. I can get on the light so I can get on the highway, right? The problem is that's a hairpin curve. It's more than, you got to, it's not at a right angle. It really curves back. And I don't want to hit the curb. So I hang kind of out in the lane a little bit. I mean, you have to do that. Well, coming the other way, since it's not a right corner, they have to turn too. And this this big pickup truck was pulling the lawn gear, a trailer for all the lawn maintenance stuff. I go, holy shit. I had to stop in the middle of the turn, or he would have had me. He would have had me. And I thought, okay, this is like the burrito incident in a wall. I'm not going to change people's driving habits, and I'm done using that as a right-hand turn. So what I have to do, I still have to go down to the light, but I'm going to go to the end of the driveway where there's a turnaround, and I can turn around, come back up, and then make a left-hand turn so I can see everything. And if there's a truck there or somebody, it's still a little dangerous, but that's the only way to get over there. It's either that or I got to hop on the highway, make a right, and then I got to do a U-turn. So anyway, but I'm never going to take that right turn again from there because it was just on me. He's rushing to get to the service. There's a fuel thing after he crosses this little side road. It crosses our driveway, and then it continues on to Walmart, and then it goes into there's a gasoline station, and then he wants breakfast, and he's hustling. I was like, man, he almost, I don't know whose fault that would have been, So I just stopped, and luckily he maybe made some adjustments, but it would have been he would have got my right corner. And I don't want to hit the curb on the right, so I always kind of, make sure I have enough room there because I don't want to mark up my wheels like I did this Subaru. So, let's see, what did I do today? I got up. I got up at 2:30 in the morning, but I was awake, but I didn't get out of bed till 3, but I still got 6.5 hours sleep. And I thought, well, okay, I got stuff to do anyway. I got to close accounts, and I got to take some final PDF files of what I got in there. And so I'm shutting down the credit union, and they open at 9. They're in Central or Eastern time zone too. So I'm going along, and I'm doing show prep, and then I realize I need a nap. It's like 8 o'clock. I need a nap. So I went down. I took listen, you're going to get old too if you're lucky, if you make it. So I went in the other bedroom. I have to use earplugs because there's the clock tick, tick, tick. It's an atomic clock. So I darkened the room, and then I shut earplugs, and I did a 45-minute nap. I felt a lot better. So then I ran over, and then I called the credit union. Now you've heard of long talkers and long-winded talkers. Well, there's another one that drives me nuts. Fast talkers. Oh my God, she was a fast talker. And it's like, just throwing me off. And I just got up from a nap. Now, I'm sure that she probably sees my age or that I'm in Florida and I'm a senior. I said, I didn't take a nap. I just woke up. She goes, what's your zip code? I had to look it up because it seemed like there was the wrong numbers to me. And I haven't had my coffee, and I'm asking her some questions, and I say, oh, there's $5 in my savings account. She says, oh yeah, well that's, I said, I cleared everything out. She goes, oh, we take that. That's hidden from you because there always has to be some money in it. So there's $5. It says 0 available, but if you look to the left, it says $5. Then I left, so I get back, I'm going to get back a $26 check or something like that. And so I said, well, what about the statement? She says, we'll mail it to you. And I said, well, I closed the Visa card. And yeah, she saw that. So, then she had to verify me. And there was a magic password I had to set up, and I forgot it. I finally guessed it. And then, go through the whole thing. And she texted me, and I read her back the number she had texted to me. So she says, okay, it'll be closed. I said, well, can I go online? She goes, yeah, in a day or two, it's going to be gone. So after I get my coffee and I come back, it's I can log on, but the accounts are gone. It says add an account, which obviously I'm not going to do. So it's gone. And then in the morning, so I deleted that. I got to delete all those, from my 1Password and everything else. But on the way there, I am getting an upgrade I am getting an upgrade, and let me put it in here. In fact, it arrives today. See, I have a bathroom scale, okay, and I do have a lifestyle, a fitness lifestyle. So I have a Fitbit area Wi-Fi smart scale. And I guess when I purchased it, January 2013. Now, it'll work, but I couldn't get it to hook up to the Wi-Fi. Now, it'll still give you your weight and percent body fat. But I thought, I need one that works with Apple. And then once it gives you your weight, and then it searches for Wi-Fi. Well, it's not going to find it. So I took out the batteries, and I went over to the county donation store. So I dropped it off there. And there was, they had the table out to the woman, and I just laid it on the table. She didn't ask any questions, so I just can't throw it away. I mean, all they got to do is put 4 AA batteries in it. So I went on, I did a little research, and this is what I came up with. I am getting this is what I'm getting. I don't know it'd be interesting to know if anybody else is. I know there's a couple 5K runners in the community. I'm getting a Withings body comp, $200, and that's on sale with the tax. I mean, it's $200 weight scale. It'll work with my Apple, and it's supposed to be easy setup, and it gives you a bunch of bone density or all this other stuff. I got the manual. I'll have to read it. But if it arrives today, I'll get it hooked up. I don't know if anybody has one of these or experience with weight scales. Now, you can spend some more money and get some more. But I went on to ChatGPT after I looked at this thing, and I said, I'm an active senior, but I'm not doing 5Ks. I don't need to know all of it, right? I would like to be able to print out my weight so I can take to the doctor's office. I remember I took my workout schedule, gave it to one of he was laughing. They don't care what you're doing. They're just looking for problems. They don't really care what you're doing. They got to, they're running a business, your health, but they're looking, at the blood work and are you in pain, are you depressed, that kind of stuff. But no, So I want to get away from Fitbit because that's like a Google thing. And I guess maybe I had a Fitbit watch at one time. I don't know what I did with it. So that's gone. And that one will arrive today. And where else have we got? I don't want to get into politics yet. There is going to be some politics. Don't want to do that. What do I want to do next? Well, let's hear from Jill Winters. We always like to hear from Jill, and that's only 3 minutes. Okay, there she is. Let's get her up here. Where are you, Jill? She's going to give you the news about the village's activities. You didn't skip out on me, did you, Jill? There she is. Jill Winters. Let's hear it.
Hello there, and welcome to the What's Happening Around the Villages podcast. I'm your host, Jill Winters. I hope you're having a great month of July and that you're ready to add even more things to your calendar. So let's get started. There are 2 Sunset Socials planned for this week. On Wednesday, it's badminton skills and drills at the Athletic Club at Olympia Recreation, followed by a putt and play tournament Thursday at Franklin Recreation. These activities are free, yet registration is required by going to an at-your-service location. These events take place from 6 to 8 p.m. The Special Talented Adult Resident Program is hosting a Summer Sweet Treats event at 1 p.m. Wednesday at Lake Okahumpka Recreation. The cost is $10 and registration is required by going to an at-your-service location. The program is designed for special needs adult villagers living with their parents. The recognition of July as National Parks and Recreation Month continues. Experience the power of nature at 7 p.m. Thursday with sunset kayaking at Lake Sumter. Take part in a peaceful paddle as the sun steals the show with a guided tour full of tranquility, exercise, and wildlife observation. This is a free event, yet registration is required by going to an at-your-service location. Time to check in now to see what the Village's entertainment department has on its calendar for this week. Villagers for Veterans presents Surveys Says on Tuesday. This is an interactive game, so gather your friends, form a team, and see if you can guess the top responses to fun, surprising, and sometimes hilarious survey questions. This is going to be held inside the lobby of Epic Theater's Old Mill Playhouse at 6:30 p.m. On Wednesday, Villagers for Veterans is going to present the Donna and Dunning Show. They will light up the stage with high energy and a feel-good musical journey through the songs you know and love at 6:30 p.m. at Old Mill Playhouse. Over at the Sharon on Friday, the Painshad family will entertain you with Pandemonium Strings. They will play 3 instruments simultaneously while dangling from a fishing line, soaring through the air on a Top Gun guitar, and so much more. Showtime for that is 7 p.m. On Saturday, Juan presents LOL July Stand-Up Comedy Night with Danny Johnson, 6:30 p.m. at Old Mill Playhouse. And finally on Sunday, inside the lobby of Old Mill Playhouse, Villagers for Veterans will present Sunday Fun Day with Dunning Shaw at 5 p.m. As always, you can get tickets to any of the shows I mentioned by going to the Village's box office location or just go online to thevillagesentertainment.com. And this doesn't happen until next Monday, that's July 27th, but I wanted to tell you about it now. The National Korean War Armistice Day ceremony will be taking place at 10 a.m. again, July 27th at Veterans Memorial Park of the Villages, which is located near La Hacienda Recreation. The guest speaker is Steve O'Shears, and Deborah Perina will be leading the crowd and singing the national anthem. As always, there's going to be a wreath presentation and a 21-gun salute at this ceremony. All right, as always, these are just some of the exciting things planned for this week around Florida's friendliest hometown. Get out there and enjoy yourself. Join me again next week to find out what's happening around the Villages. Have a great week.
Oh, thank you, Jill Winters. Well, since we're on the Villages, I got to play some Villages clips. There's always something to do with the Villages. All aboard track 9.
We start months in advance planning out what we want to do. I've actually built a software application so we can lay out the track plan and the tables, so now we know exactly what we need to have to bring to the show. And one of the other gentlemen, Steve Coleman, he pulls all the track together after we get the list. And yesterday, like I said, we started at 8 a.m. and I think I got home about 6 p.m. last night. So we spent the entire day getting the tables laid out, the track laid out, and then getting everything tested. Starting about 6 o'clock at night till about midnight every night, I've been modeling and then 3D printing all of this. One section of track takes about 8 hours to print. So all of this has been 3D printed. I wanted one that was true to scale with the rest of our trains, and that's what this one is.
I like the fact that they've got a lot of different scales, set up all in one place. That's interesting to see. I think on a rainy afternoon is a nice place to spend a couple hours just seeing the different exhibits and talking to the modelers that are pretty interesting. My kids grew up, they didn't want to have anything to do with the train set. So now that my grandson's here, he's starting to develop an interest in the train set. So who knows where this thing goes?
I just had a Thomas set, but then he brought some more trains in my room, so now I have a passenger train and a hauler.
Just show them what the world of possibilities are when it comes to scale. I mean, we've got all HO equipment now, but that doesn't mean that's forever. But to show them the variety and what the possibilities are and what can be built with the HO stuff that we have.
This is fantastic to be able to see the stuff and look at it, in scale version. But all the trains, I mean, we've got some fantastic displays. Some of the stuff that's, 80 years old even, is still running. But it's amazing to be able to allow these people to come in and see all that we do, because we love doing it, and being able to share that love is very, very cool. You get the questions, and they're like, oh, we've rode on that before. Oh, what have you done? Just the oohs and ahs. That's what I enjoy.
Get started in model railroading. It's a great little activity that all generations can enjoy.
Trains are just a fun activity to do when you're bored.
The next model train show will be held at the Savannah Center on Saturday, September 19th through the 20th. You can find information on the club's shows and sales by visiting the link provided.
Why don't you go see that, Lex? I can't get in there. You got to have Village's ID. You got to live in the villages. No comments, 9 people. That's okay. I'm still going to do a show. I mean, at least I'm doing a show. You know, some people, they just, a lot of talk. They don't get anything done. I at least accomplish things. So let's, the Villages has a radio station.
Now, from the WVLG studios, it's Jack Hammer, D, and Director of Recreation and Parks, John Rohan.
Rohan. It is time for the Recreation and Parks.
What's going on in the world of rec and parks?
Yeah. How's Camp Villages going?
Camp Villages is going fantastic. Great articles that the Villages Daily Sun continues to put out there about the value of Camp Villages and how much people, our residents, enjoy participating with their visiting grandchildren. Take some time, even if you don't have your grandchildren here right now, or read some of those articles about the impact Camp Villages is having with both the resident grandparents and the visiting grandchildren. It's really what the design behind it is, that intergenerational concept. You know, you got your resident grandparent and then the grandchild participating. Everything from rock climbing to arts and crafts to kite flying they were doing. We had the Dynamic Dog Club do a demo, and we can't thank the resident lifestyle volunteer clubs and their leaders. They come forward with their lifestyle activity and want to showcase it as part of Camp Villages. So very grateful for their participation. We've got, of course, the National Recreation Parks Month is, starting to wind down, but we've got sunset kayaking coming up on the 23rd. There's probably 5 or 6 other National Recreation and Parks Month activities scheduled to get us through the end of July. We have our Sunset Socials. They're very popular. Dee's got them up on the screen. And everything I'm looking at over at D is all on our website, on districtgov.org. Great marketing pieces about what to do, where to go, how to sign up. Very popular QR codes are in play now. So not familiar with how those work. Basically, you hold your phone up to it or your tablet, and you hit that little QR code, and it'll take you right to the rest of the information on there. And I think our residents enjoy the new enhanced technology that we continue to put out there. It makes it easier to navigate, and we continue to make those changes and upgrades, and because we want you to get involved, and we want to make it as simple as possible. So whether that's coming into a rec center to register, or going online to do it, or so you can mail it in if you wanted to. We don't, whatever you prefer to do, we want to make sure we capture you to be able to enjoy those activities. And then if you want to start a club, a resident lifestyle club, just stop by any of the regional recreation centers. The numbers are astounding. I think we're at 4,000 plus resident-led club activities and continue to grow. Blanchard, that was our most recent Village Rec Center, and now it is up and alive and coming together with club activities and programs and people taking advantage of those recreation facilities and amenities out there. So community-wide, there's a lot going on. Take the best of everything we have going on here and enjoy it all.
As always, definitely enjoy everything Florida's friendliest hometown has to offer. And if you want the Recreation and Park publication, you can get it at all of the regional rec centers. Thursday edition of the Daily Sun. It'll be right in your driveway if you're a subscriber. Or as always, you can do what D does and just go to the website, districtgov.org.
There is a park I want to check out, but it is like a wilderness thing. I wonder if I can get a small hiking group that knows the way out there. There's one guy I spoke, he and his wife, she can no longer go to the fitness center, and he goes, not this one, but the one I used to go to, and I still got his number. I got to call him when it cools off. I got to call him up and have him take me out there. But I want to be with somebody because I don't know the area at all. And there's a lake and there's a trail he goes on. He says it's beautiful, so I'll have to check with him. And we got comments. Thank you. Uzi. Well, I'm not going to put that up there. Why would you, and I'm not even going to agree with your assessment, but if someone you to believe to be an active alcoholic, yeah, why would you listen to him? Or personality disorder, why would you interact with them? I don't even want to mention that place. Well, yeah, and it's a similar, you just grabbing other people's material. Okay, do I play clips from the village? Yeah, it's other people's material, but I don't make an hour bit out of it. I don't make an 8-hour stream out of it, or even a, it's good information. I don't think they mind me giving it out either. But you got to have something to talk about and your views on it, but just to joke around on it or just play somebody's, for an hour. No. Put some effort into it. And again, there's people out there promising material, but they don't know how to accomplish. What a difference making your bed makes, huh? Okay, what about, we got road work in the villages.
Roadway improvement projects are underway for several roads in the villages. Road work has begun for resurfacing projects in the village of Belvedere, Glenbrook, Dunedin, according to Sumter County Public Works. The micro resurfacing reinforcements are a part of a county-wide project which is expected to last through the rest of the summer. Drivers should plan on possible lane closures for the next few weeks, but you can map it out and check out the project and those areas by visiting the link provided.
Oh, that's good to know. I only go over there if I have to go, if I go shopping. And now that I got that Citibank Visa card, Citibank Costco Visa, when I'm over there, I'm going to use it now at the Costco Center all the time instead of my debit card. And then they have gasoline over there, and I'll, since I'm over there, I'll fill it up. But I'm all about convenience. I'll go up to, if it's early morning, like on a Saturday, I go to Sam's Club. I think it's closer. And then, of course, guess what's between me and Sam's Club? The Wawa. So I can get my coffee at the same time. Final clip, upcoming shows. I'm trying to get a foothold in the community here, Central Florida. Most of my viewers are like 55 and older, which is nothing wrong with that. But I gotta appeal to more people. This is what I like putting up. Okay, that's your village's update completed. So let's get rid of this. Told you about my near accident, my hummingbird. Okay, got that. And I'm waiting on my bathroom scale. We'll see if it's easy to hook up. But, I had that Fitbit I bought in 2013. They've gone 2 new versions, but I want to get away from, I want it to be compatible with Apple. So that's the one I'm going to get, with Withings body comp weight scale. So we got more stories, and now we go on more to a national level. Let's hear from Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, along with what's her first name? Well, I'll let her introduce herself. But I can't put these two in the birdcage. I can't do that. I got to show some respect. So I'll give him this. Whoop. There we go. Black Mountains. And who we got here? Scott Bessent. Maria, that's her name. Maria and Scott Bessent. This was yesterday. Fraud, waste, and abuse.
I'm Maria Bartiromo, and it is Tuesday, July 21st. It is just before 8 a.m. on the button on the East Coast. We've got breaking news right now. The Treasury Department announcing the successful implementation of a new government-wide payment verification process. The process designed to help stop federal payments being sent to deceased individuals. The department identifying nearly 5,000 payments worth approximately $99 million, all linked to dead people and deceased payees. Joining me now is the Treasury Secretary himself, U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. Secretary, thanks so much for spending the time. Can you walk us through the Treasury implementing this new safeguard to stop payments to deceased people? How significant an issue has this been?
Well, Maria, good morning, and good to be with you. And look, this is part of what President Trump calls his common sense agenda. It's common sense. And President Trump issued an executive order for us to be able to go to the do not pay, to have it interact with the Treasury payment systems. And as a result, so far, we've saved about $100 million, payments that didn't go to deceased people, and that would have gone out. We think that there's up to $350 million that we can stop before the end of this year, and that goes along with the Vice President's task force on eliminating waste, fraud, and abuse in the government. The GAO estimates that it might be, this number might be up to $500 billion, which is about 1.66% of GDP. So, that could go a long way towards paying down the debt, providing more services. And this is just the start, Maria. Well, look, in the Biden administration, HHS got rid of about 50 or 60 of the people who were charged with monitoring fraud. And, Maria, what's important here is that we are stopping the money from going out. So once the money gets out, trying to retrieve it is very, very difficult. So stopping it at the source here is our goal. And Maria, there's hundreds of billions of dollars here, and this is the start. We are off to a great start. You're seeing the Vice President's task force, the unearthed things, all across the healthcare system too.
Good. Get them off. Get them off. Getting Social Security payments. We got to keep that solvent for seniors, not for fraudsters, right? Oh, let's go back outside. Wow. And there you go. Well, and I'm in the Apple ecosystem, so I figure why get a Fitbit scale, right? Mega value customer. My Fitbit has stopped working with my iPhone since Google bought Fitbit. I do use, even though I'm in the Apple ecosystem, my default browser is Chrome, and I do use, I think that's about it. I use Google Slides. I mean, I do have a Google account, but since I got the watch and I got a health app and all of that stuff, I would like the scale to track my weight and, give some more measurements. Like when I go to the doctor's office, I can just kind of hand him I give him my medical because I told you the doctor is leaving town. He's gone. So I had to pick another doctor. See if I get along with him. He's a young kid. He looks like he's 30 years old. So I get to meet him in a couple of weeks. I got to get the blood work done. Oh, look at the flag out there, the white flag. I would love to get the door frame out of the way, but that's the best shot I can do. Beautiful day. It's hot, though. 93 degrees in the birdcage. All right, so before we get to some really terrible news, this is an arsonist, a mental case. Of course, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to talk about, anybody heard of Gabriel Perez? Anybody know this guy? Now, I will put him in the birdcage. Where are you? There he is, Gabriel Perez. Now, he's cleaning a teleprompter there. So who is he? Well, I did a little research on him. He is a long-time a long-time technical aid and teleprompter operator associated with Donald Trump. Uh-oh, he's in trouble. Since 2016 presidential campaign, although commonly described in the news reports as the White House teleprompter operator, his formal White House title in both 2025 and 2026 was Deputy Assistant to the President and Technical Advisor. He should have been proud to be associated in this administration. And he got an annual salary of $175,000. But it wasn't enough, as you're going to find out. Or he's got we'll wait till I get there. Let's see, Perez reportedly entered Trump's orbit in 2016 when the campaign located the New York teleprompter company for which he worked. He subsequently became a trusted technical aide responsible for operating, stopping, advancing, and rewinding Trump's prepared marks, including accommodated last-minute changes and Trump's frequent departures from the written text. And let's see, 2000 campaign he was special assistant to the President Technical Advisor, Office of the President, April 2018 to 21. Now he's also owner of Bonus Fortuna LLC in Maywood, New Jersey, February 2021 to January 2025. And he's also, let's see, the 2024 campaign period, teleprompter services for the Republican National Committee. His disclosure reports $73,661 in salary. December 2024, January 25, the teleprompter operator for the Trump-Vance inaugural committee reported compensation of $15,000. Of course, today, until recently, he was deputy assistant to the president, technical advisor. Okay, we don't have to give his duties in practical. I asked for credentials, and there's no education I could find or military service. However, why he's on unpaid administrative leave. As of July 16th. ABC News reported, based on the matter, that the Commodities Future Trading Commission, the CFTC, was examining allegations that he used knowledge of Trump's speeches to profit from Kalshi, K-A-L-S-H-I, prediction market wagers. So he's gambling. Well, he's got a little bit of advantage, doesn't he? What are they gambling on? Concerning words or subject that Trump would mention. I mean, come on, dude. Why would you do, the reported amount exceeded $100,000. Well, he was just trying to make some money on the side, but you cast shame on the presidency. How dare you? He was characterized until this incident as a high-trust operational presidential aide whose influence derived from technical access rather than policy. He wasn't involved in policy. That's too bad. Too bad. As of July, and I'm in the news business, and this story interests me. Some guys just can't resist. He's got the inside information. I make a few bucks, make a few wagers, but you don't know something. Part of you was that part of the excitement of gambling. As of July 22nd, let's see, he has not been criminally charged or indicted. He's under investigation, Commodities Futures Trading Commission. He's cooperating with investigators. Now, this is ChatGPT, which you cannot, so take that with a grain of salt, because I also found out on these other stories, and they use ABC News and Reuters. Can you trust them? I don't trust them. They're discussing a possible civil regulatory settlement. He's going to lose all the money he made plus fines. See, why would you do this? He's no longer working at the White House after being placed on unpaid leave. This is Reuters reported the matter. There's not a filed criminal case. It's a CFTC investigation. Now, a CFTC settlement could involve repayment of profits. Yeah, say goodbye to that. that he made wagering, a financial penalty, or trading restrictions. That would be a civil enforcement action, not a criminal conviction. Also being investigated or accused does not establish guilt. Okay, he big trouble, but he had a great job. And plus he was known by the president. You know, you could have got a job maybe when he got out of office, with him. So that's what gambling will do. Oh, let's backtrack for a second. I want to show you the Anna hummingbird. Excuse me. This is the ruby-throated hummingbird in Florida. That's the male. Beautiful. I saw that, but not at my property. I saw it somewhere else. Now, this is the female, and I thought, but she didn't look like, she wasn't colored that way. I almost thought it was a rufous. But they have that rufous color, but they're only here, allegedly, in the wintertime. Maybe like the geese, maybe it decided to stay put. Why migrate? You're in Florida. Why not stay put? I guess it's possible. But it was rufous colored, but then I realized they're migratory and they're in Mexico now. Unless they decided to take residence in Florida. But that's the female. The females don't have the colors that the males have. And we're done with Gabriel Perez. That's too bad. Throw your job away. Your association with the president. He can't be seen with you from now on, right? I mean, you know that. All right, what else we got? Now we're going to, let's see, we did Scott Bessent. Get rid of that. Now, I'm on my outline. Okay, before we get into the Trump stuff, there's another area we have to cover. How about Andrew Arabaka of New York? Does that name ring a bell? Well, let's show some video about him before we talk about him. Where are you, Andrew? Video clips. Here he is. This is... here he is setting a fire. Yeah, there he is. Now, the news media describes him as a veteran, military veteran. But I got more information on there. Now look at the guy with the white hair taking him down. That's a senior. That's a senior citizen. Took him down. Good for him. Give him a few hits. And there he is being arrested. Now, this was taken from a woman, and it's insider wire, but a woman, I guess, across the street. And she got a pretty good lens. That's a good way to throw your life away. He's not that old. Oh, wait till you see what he is armed with. Or here. And here he is doing the perp walk. They got him. Andrew Arabaka of New York. Going to the SDNY, the Southern District of New York Federal Court. He appeared there. And we're going to give you more information on that. Oh, great. What did I do with it? What did I do with it? Oh, here it is. I have a separate folder. And it didn't come over? Why wouldn't it come over? Loading. It's loading. I may have to go turn my other computer on. All right, I'm going to put you on hold here, play a little music, and I'll be right back. Okay. Okay. I turned off the Wi-Fi on the other computer, but now it's downloaded over here. This is hardwired. So when I stream, I use off the kitchen here. Comments. Mark Tabe. Yeah, I do change the blade. I got a shave today. Another day, I got a Wednesday. I work out Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. So I'll shave late afternoon, and then I look good for 2 days. No, Blanca, I can't. I gotta broaden my audience somehow, and they're not interested in that. I gotta, give material that people would be interested in, but outside of that milieu or whatever you want to call it. I just can't do it. He's definitely got a problem. I mean, I don't even want to say anything, okay? But a lot of the community are unemployable for a reason. And so I don't want to, and I don't know him that well at all. Okay, so what am I doing here? Oh yeah, so let's see, hang on. I have to go to there are links in the description also, but I have to go to my own channel here, and I have to click. I found a great coverage of this guy. Where is it? Here we go. Oh, the hyperlinks don't work? Look at that nonsense. All right, I'll find it myself. I'm looking. I mean, he was actually in court with this guy. He texted from the court. So let's, okay, now I gotta go back to that. Hang on. Gotta go back to my channel. I put the link in, but it's not even, doesn't work as a hyperlink. Why is that? I'll copy and paste it. Hopefully they still have the story up there. And we got a hurricane in the Gulf, but it's going the opposite direction. It's not coming to Florida. We did get a couple, some little bit of rain out of it, which is a good thing. Oh. Okay, well, I will copy and paste them. The one anyway. All right, here we go. Another comment. Okay, Docs, let's see. It does attract the unemployable and the people with problems. Okay. All right, here we go. So we're back to Andrew Arabaca of New York, the guy who set the fire, whose clips I played. All right, well, he had his day in the federal court. This is by Matthew Russell Lee of Inner City Press, July 21st, which was what? Yesterday. Okay, arson. Here's the headline. For arson at 26th Federal Plaza, Arabaca is detained rather than released to VA hospital with letter in 48 hours. Here we go. Southern District, New York Courthouse, Federal Courthouse. 32 hours after being filmed pouring gasoline in front of an entrance to 26 Federal Plaza in Lower Manhattan, Andrew Arabaca appeared in U.S. District Court for the Southern District of New York. His federal defender argued for release to a locked ward in the Veterans Administration Hospital on 23rd Street for mental evaluation. The Southern District New York prosecutor argued for detention And Magistrate Judge Robin F. Tarnofsky, after taking a break, agreed Arabaca will remain detained. In other words, will not be going to the VA. While the complaint was not yet in public documents, Arabaca is charged with arson and not terrorism. Inner city press was there in the jury box and live tweeted. At 4:48 p.m., Arabaca is brought out of the holding cell by 3 U.S. Marshals. He is short, wearing glasses, eyeglasses, look over at us reporting, sitting in the jury box. There are 4 AUSA, assistant U.S. attorneys. 4, in other words, at the prosecution table, there were 4 U.S. assistant, 4 U.S. attorneys, assistant U.S. attorneys. 4:51 p.m., the judge enters the courtroom. All rise. Judge Robin Tarnofsky, you've been charged in a complaint. I have your financial affidavit. Did you sign it? Arabaca, yes, Your Honor, I signed the affidavit. Judge, I appointed Ms. Brown of Federal Defenders to represent you. 4:55 p.m. Judge, Mr. Arabaca, you're charged with arson in an incident that occurred on July something. Federal Defender, we waive the public reading. Judge, you have the right to a preliminary hearing in 14 days if you are in custody, 21 if not. In other words, if he would have gone to the VA, he would have had 21 days, I guess. Is there an agreement regarding release pending trial? Asked the judge. The Assistant U.S. Attorney General, U.S. Attorney, Assistant U.S. Attorney, no, Your Honor. Judge, so we'll have a bail hearing. What is the basis for seeking detention? The Assistant U.S. Attorney, danger to the community and a serious risk of flight. Is this a presumption case? Yes, Your Honor. Tell me why detention is warranted. We joined with pretrial services in the view that he must be detained. Yesterday, on July 20th, he set out to attack a federal building. His plan started in January. The guy's been planning it since January, allegedly. Continue by the Assistant U.S. Attorney. He bought a pellet gun, fireworks. He scoped out other targets. On Sunday afternoon, he brought an arsenal of weapons downtown. Now wait for this. A machete, the pellet gun. He spent the night in the park downtown. He went and set off fireworks, then pointed the pellet gun. It's amazing he wasn't shot. You're downtown pointing guns. It was amazing he wasn't shot. He poured, now this is the Assistant U.S. Attorney. He poured a flammable liquid in front of employee interests and lit it on fire. Then he went to his wagon. What's a wagon? I mean a wagon, like a toy wagon, you know. Got fireworks and threw them in the fire. Members of the public were arriving, parents with children for the daycare, the post office. Any questions about the danger? The judge says, no, thank you. Assistant Attorney General, U.S. Assistant United States Attorney. The evidence is strong, including the post-arrest interview. He faces a 7-year mandatory minimum. He does not have a stable residence. He is living out of the car, and he spent the night in downtown Park. He is homeless. You got to keep your eye on the homeless. Judge, Ms. Brown, anyway, the federal defender. Now she answered, Mr. Arabaca is 43 years old, U.S. citizens with no record, a lifelong resident of New York, a veteran of the Army, until recently employed. He hasn't left the U.S. since 2005. By the way, he was never in active combat. Federal defender, the words on the helmet, he understood he might, I guess he had a helmet, he put some words on it. He understood he might die. There is an underlying mental health issue here. Do you see that in ABC, NBC, CNN? No. All you see is military veteran. He should not be warehoused at Metropolitan Detention Center. Let's get him help. I propose he be released on personal recognizance bond to the VA Emergency Hospital. Federal defender. The VA at 423 East 23rd Street has a locked ward. The intent was to damage property. The suicidal suicidality, how do you pronounce that? It's suicidality. The suicidality, say that quickly, can be addressed. What about after the evaluation, asked the judge. The federal defender, depends on what it reveals. He could move into a shelter. He could be monitored. Judge, could he be evaluated and not released until you come back here with the report? Federal defender, that is what we are proposing. Locked ward until a treatment plan set up. The risk is mitigated. Judge, what services would be available if he is remanded? Assistant United States Attorney, he was prescribed mental medication in 2020 and stopped taking it in 2021. If retained, he would be evaluated. This was a plan he had over many months. He targeted employee entrance at a busy time. Federal defender, the Metropolitan Detention Center is difficult for people with mental issues. Judge, I don't have any comfort that he would stay in treatment location or plan. Federal defender, he served his country. Judge, government, assistant U.S. attorney, nothing further. Judge, can we assure mental evaluation and treatment? That the judge is asking that. The assistant U.S. attorney says, we'll confer with the Metropolitan Detention Center. Judge, recess. Okay. The judge, now they had a recess. The marshals have taken Arabaka back into the holding cell, while 2 federal defenders remain in the courtroom. Now, this is all from the website, and there's a link in the description from Inner City Press. Okay, let's see now. 5:34 p.m. 3 U.S. Marshals bring Arabaka, Andrew, back out of the holding cell. One of them on a cell phone saying, yes, ma'am, we're bringing him out. It's decision time, jail or bail, says the Inner City Press. Judge Tarnofsky, I find the presumption has not been rebutted. There are no conditions on which you can be released. The crime you are charged with is troubling. It was at a time could cause harm. It was not on a Sunday when the building is less used. Judge continues, you didn't take advantage of VA services that would have been available to you, so let's set a preliminary hearing date. Federal prosecutor, 14 days, Your Honor. Judge, this is someone who needs to be evaluated. This is someone who served our country. Judge, I want a letter in 48 hours. Federal defender, I have a medical order, not mental, physical. Judge, of course. Okay, all right, that was it. And for more coverage of this, I suggest you go over to Inner City Press. They're also on X. 9 people watching. Well, I'm interested in that story. I don't know about you. I have more on Andrew Arabaka. Now, this is also from a post by Fox and Friends. Heinous attack. Army veteran Andrew Arabaka is in custody after allegedly setting off fireworks and igniting a fire outside the Federal Plaza. According to federal officials, the motive, the suspect made anti-ICE and anti-government statements and told federal agents he targeted the building to harm people inside or entering. The weapons, an airsoft rifle, 2 axes, a hammer, a machete, and 3 knives. The damage, 2 people suffered minor injuries, including an immigrant at the building for a hearing. So let's look more closely at Andrew Arabaka. Verified public record history. Let's see. He's 43 years old. Let's see. Can't get a lot of things. Let's see. Federal authorities describe him as formerly associated with Poughkeepsie, New York, and having a more recent residence in Harlem, Manhattan. Other professional profiles have listed Beacon, New York. Military service. Now, this is fascinating to me that he could do this. Branch, United States Army, active service period 2001 to 2005. Now, this is the U.S. Army that confirmed the following. An Army spokesman quoted by the Associated Press. Specialty, repairing or maintaining Patriot missile systems. And now he's pulling a toy wagon? Again, specialty, repairing or maintaining Patriot missile systems. Final rank, specialist. Deployments, no deployments. Additional service, approximately 1 year in the New York Army Guard. There is no public documentation of combat service or overseas deployment, medals or decorations, disciplinary proceedings or court-martial, discharge characterization or disability rating or security clearance. One report calling him a combat veteran, but that conflicts with the Army spokesman. He had no deployments. Now, he does have some education on LinkedIn profile. He was at SUNY, Southern, what is SUNY? New Platts. SUNY New Platts. What is SUNY New Platts? I did look this up earlier, but now I find it interesting how these guys get themselves into this trouble. SUNY New Platts is the State University of New York at New Platts, a public four-year university. SUNY means State University of New York. Liberal arts, business, education, psychology, engineering, fine and performing arts. Okay, it awards bachelor's and master's degree in certain advanced services. So it is the State University of New York. All right. Back to his history here. While at the State University of New York, New Platts, from 2004 to 2008, participated in Habitat for Humanity. So he went from Habitat for Humanity to starting fires. And, now get this one, Evolutionary Studies Club. Evolutionary Studies Club, and in association with the psychology department. And again, he goes to that, to pulling a wagon and starting fires and fireworks and trying to harm people. Other sources report a Bachelor of Arts from Southern, what do I call it? I don't want to use that. The State University of New York. State University of New York. State University of New York. New Platts. Where at Habitat for Humanity and Evolutionary Studies. He earned a BA from State University of New York. Psychology as the degree field. They gave him a Bachelor of Arts degree. Isn't that amazing? Graduation reportedly varies from 2008 or 2009. A 2009 peer review article lists Andrew Arabaka as co-author and associates the authors with State University of New York. The paper was entitled Impact of Relational Proximities on Distress from Infidelity. Let me repeat that. Impact of relational proximity on distress from infidelity. Employment, he had an older LinkedIn profile listing him as a preservation company program assistant at Hudson River Community Health. Okay. And now he's pulling a wagon and setting fires, and he's homeless. That's terrible. From July 2001 to 2004, missile system maintainer, U.S. Army. 2004 to 2005, public safety support specialist, New York. Public safety support specialist, New York Army National Guard, to lighting fires. It's terrible. August 2005 to May 2005, campus chapter co-president, State University of New York, New Platts, Habitat for Humanity, co-president, Habitat for Humanity, and he's homeless. And then he worked January 2006, May 2007, driver and dispatcher, State University of New York, New Platts, campus escort. June to August 2006, golf grounds and golf course maintainer, Hudson Valley Resort and Spa. July 2006 to May 2008, Psychology Department Research Assistant, State University, New York, New Platts. He also is associated, but there's no date here. Prepared foods, delicatessen associate, assistant construction supervisor, U.S. Census Bureau non-response follow-up enumerator. Okay. And there's no, those, okay, criminal record, there's nothing showing that. The allegations that he brought a cart or wagon displaying ice off our streets, spread gasoline near an employee entrance, ignited gasoline, a large fireworks, fired 5 to 7 plastic bullets from an airsoft rifle toward the building. It's amazing he didn't get shot. Possessed 2 axes, 3 fixed blade knives, a hammer, and a machete. Caused minor injuries to government employees and a civilian. Made anti-ICE and anti-government statements after being detained. Earlier criminal record, there's nothing on him. All right, there's your Andrew Arabaka. I probably lost everybody. Oh, I still got 9 people hanging in there. Thank you. And I would like to thank Inner City Press for that, .com, by the way, for that in the courtroom material. All right. Now we get to the main story. What have I done? An hour and 20 minutes? Now we got to go to Trump because vote vulnerability. I looked this up because he provided documents, which I don't think, CNN, ABC, CBS, Reuters, they're not going to look at that. And I did learn a lesson that you can't really trust ChatGPT because they use those as sources. So I did take some photos of the documents I'm going to be talking about. In this episode, we're going to be discussing vulnerabilities in electronic voting and ballot counting systems as described on the website. First, we have a CIA note, Summary of Selective Intelligence Reporting. You can read that for yourself. Electronic voting manipulation capabilities, CIA. And I have the material. And I'm not going to read it to you, but I do have them. But I ran them through ChatGPT just to get an overview, like an executive summary, but I don't want conclusions. CIA notes central judgment is that Venezuelan governments under Hugo Chavez and Nicolas Maduro showed a sustained interest and probably developed some technical capability to manipulate Venezuela's electronic voting system. Now, you don't think the left would like that in America? Let's see. They worked at the National... Well, you can read it for yourself. It's online. So it was interfered with their election. And now here's the Smartmatic. 2000 Intelligent Community Assessment regarded Sysmatic, that's the some kind of smart voting thing, ownership of Sequoia Voting Systems, a moderate national security concern, based on reported Venezuela ties, alleged intelligent relationships. Okay, U.S. government ultimately contributed to Smartmatic divesting Sequoia in 2007. And then they, see, I don't know what is ABC or CNN. Bottom line, the document establishes a credible national security concern, an authoritarian government with insiders, centralized administration, and end-to-end control of electronic voting infrastructure may be able to manipulate results technically and conceal the manipulation. All right? So that's all I need to tell you on that one. Let's move to the next one. And who do we have? Chili Badger. Made it back home safe and sound. Well, thank you. Oh, made it back home safe and of unsound mind. Well, you have to work on that, Chili. Now let's go to second document. CIA wire, China. Now this is where the ABC News and Reuters really shines through. All right, here's the document. I ran it through Chat GPT. Executive summary. CIA wire memo dated July 1st, 2020. Assessed that Chinese cyber activity against the U.S. presidential election was probably preparation. This dated July 1, 2020. Let me start over. Assessed that Chinese cyber activity against the U.S. presidential election was probably preparation for political and election-related espionage. Principal findings, Chinese hackers targeted a presidential campaign. I'm just painting this with a broad stroke, okay? You can look at the document yourself. The immediate objective appeared to be intelligence collection. Well, yeah, for what reason? To interfere, right? Merely opening an email could reveal useful information. 4, the campaign may have supported longer-term Chinese military intelligence collection. 5, China was collecting election-related information from many sources. The attempted campaign compromise was reportedly unsuccessful. Reportedly. Yeah, but they're interfering. Okay, now this is, I'm just giving you like broad what the document says. See, why the document matters. The memo shows that U.S. intelligence officials were aware by summer 2020 that a Chinese state-linked group was actively targeting American presidential campaign personnel and collecting wider election-related information. Hey, ask Canada. What do you think they're doing up in Canada? Later, Justice Department charges substantially corroborated the described APT-31 method and that the group targeted personnel from both major political parties before the 2020 election. Okay, bottom line. The strongest defensible conclusion is the CIA believed China was conducting serious state-sponsored cyber reconnaissance and espionage against the 2020 U.S. political election ecosystem. The memo warned that this activity could create the capability for more aggressive interference, but it did not conclude that China had manipulated or changed the election results. Well, okay. Yeah, it's still interference. All right, that's the second document. Now we're going to go to the third document. Let me get rid of my show outline. That's throwing me off. Third document. Oh, oh, God, why do they use all these acronyms? Let me see if it's on the document. Okay, the CISA, it's the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, CISA. So let's go back and get the executive summary. The CISA election report, final, it was dated July 13, 2026, is a 6-page technical assessment based primarily on CISA examinations, penetration tests, red team exercises, and incident response work involving selected election software. and state, local, tribal, and territorial election networks from roughly 2019 through 2024. The White House released it as a part of a broader collection concerning election system vulnerabilities. Yeah, you got to make your vote count. You got to pass the Secure American Act. Bottom line, the CISA found that portions of America's election infrastructure contain serious recurring cyber weaknesses. Okay. The report's three major findings. Election software contained real vulnerabilities. Certification rules can prevent timely security repairs. Certification rules can prevent timely security repairs. That was two. Many local election networks were poorly secured. Voting machine concerns. Okay, so what is this CISA recommendations? Human readable paper ballots. Manual post-election audits. The most defensible conclusion, America's decentralized election infrastructure had, and in some places may continue to have, material cybersecurity vulnerabilities that deserve urgent remediation, paper verification, and transparent auditing. The report demonstrates risk and inadequate safeguards. All right, you got problems. And you can pass any law you want. You can pass keep America's elections, but if the people in office don't care, like borders, secure borders, if they don't care about the Constitution or protecting us, they're not going to follow any rule. All right, let's go to note. Now we got an email here. So let's go to the email. This is from the National Intelligence Officer. This is a one-page email dated December 23rd, 2021. It was written by a National Intelligence Officer for Cyber at the ONI, the National Intelligence Council. Its central complaint is that the intelligence community appeared to apply inconsistent standards for judging whether Chinese cyber activity constituted election influence. The email was declassified by President Trump on July 3rd, 2026, and released publicly as part of a larger election intelligence package. Core allegation. The author says that the circulated report used some of the same intelligence logic, personnel, and activities that had previously been characterized during the 2020 election as merely issue-focused, not election to influence. Yeah, the Chinese only want to check on the issue focus. Yeah, come on. It's interference. They want influence, which is interference. To later support a conclusion that China was influenced in other elections. Anyway, it depends who's in power at the time, right? The document establishes that a senior cyber intelligence officer privately challenged the consistency and methodology of the intelligence community assessment involving China. And then it goes on to defend China. All right, what do we got now? We got another email. I know, we got comments, but I'm doing a show. I mean, talk among yourselves. I'll get into the comments, but I got to get through this, make it as painless as possible. And I got to attract a larger audience than some of the nonsense stuff. Okay, what are we on? We're on email 5. So let's go to the chat GPT executive summary. This is a 2-page internal FBI email dated December 30th, 2020. Records the FBI objections to a proposed minority view in a draft intelligence community assessment concerning China's activities surrounding the 2020 election. The document was declassified by White House counsel July 10th, 2026, and included in the White House election integrity document release, which you can find on whitehouse.gov. Bottom line, the FBI was not opposing publication of dissenting analysis. It said the minority opinion could appear as a separate text box, but insisted that it meet the same evidentiary and analytic standards as the main assessment. The FBI called that requirement an absolute red line. It also opposed placing the dissent, blah, 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 whatever. This is a little confusing. The majority assessment apparently concluded that China's leaders were aware their activities could affect American candidates, but that the available intelligence did not establish that Beijing intended to influence the election outcome. Oh, please. That was the majority? Really? Of course, ask Canada. Ask Canada how they like China's involvement. 4 principal, okay. Let's see. Let's get to the end of it. The email demonstrates a serious internal dispute over analytic methodology, source reliability, and how prominently a dissenting view would appear. Should appear, anyway. All right. China. I'm not here to protect China. Now we're going to go to document 6. I guess I should go to the comments first. So that was 5, so I'll leave that on 5. Anything of importance? Let's see, Chile. Let's see, how's it go? Yeah, well, I'll talk about that after I get through this. Chile, but China, exactly. I don't know what that means. I'll get back to that. I'll touch on the matter. Dodger says, good evening, Docs, and all within the chat. Okay, well, if you don't like it, you can leave, right? Goodbye. Take your comments with you. Okay. All right. We'll get back to it. I'll get back to that. Now where are we at? That was email 5. Now we've got the NIC assessment, National Intelligence Council assessment. Executive summary, the bottom line. This was written, let's see, the document was written August 19, 2020, warned that several foreign governments were attempting or had the capability to shape the American political environment before the election. It identified Russia as conducting the clearest candidate-specific influence campaign, Iran as working against President Trump, and China as preferring Trump's defeat, but at the time apparently avoiding a direct coordinated operation to change the presidential result. The principal threat was influence. Well, that's still interference. Election influence, propaganda, covert messaging, leaks, pressure on politicians, social media operations, attempt to alter voters' perceptions and how they vote. How do people exercise their vote? On their perceptions. Election interference, targeting the technical election process, registration systems, voting, ballot counting, or results reporting. Well, I still think that's all right. Russia, active, okay, whatever, let's see. China preferred Trump's defeat, no kidding. But the document showed restraint and internal uncertainty. Iran organized influential campaign against President Trump. No, not only that, they tried to take him out, right? Iran? Okay, that's all I want to cover on this one. I'm going to hustle through this. Only 2 to go. 2 to go. What are we in? 1 hour, 37 minutes. Okay, 7. National Intelligence Council, another memorandum. See, this October 16, 2020 National Intelligence Council memorandum presents a minority or alternative intelligence assessment, arguing that China had taken limited steps to influence the 2020 election against President Trump. It directly disagreed with the intelligence community's prevailing judgment that Beijing had considered, but had not actually deployed, an election influence campaign. The memorandum was declassified. It goes more and more on China. Let's see. Alleged methods. The memorandum says China's activities probably included public diplomatic statements and official propaganda critical of President Trump, covert or unattributed social media accounts posing as Americans, online networks circulating English language material attacking Trump and his administration, consideration of collecting or disseminating derogatory information described in one passage as black materials about the president, possible use of Chinese-linked organizations or groups in the United States to encourage protests damaging to Trump's political standing, to Trump's public standing, pressure on candidates, advisors, donors, businessmen, officials regarding China-related policies, economic leverage and threats of retaliation against political constituencies supporting policies Beijing opposed. Yeah, it's election influence, interference, really. Okay, now there's intelligence community disagreement. Now, of course, you got some of the deep state players in there. They don't want Trump. Bottom line, this document is significant because it shows that inside the intelligence community before the 2020 election, qualified analysts believe the official census was too narrow and failed to count certain Chinese propaganda, covert messaging, protest-related and economic activities as election influence. All right? Oh, we're speeding right along. We're down to the last one. But before I finish, I mean, what's the solution? What's the solution, Mr. President?
Demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act.
One more time.
Demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act.
Thank you, sir. All right, here we go, the last one. Oh, golfers. Got a little cloud. It makes a really nice video stream. Last one. The eighth document, the executive overview, the January 15, 2020 National Intelligence Council Memorandum. Vulnerabilities in U.S. 2020 election infrastructure. It's a forward-looking cybersecurity threat assessment prepared before the 2020 election. Its central message is that foreign adversaries possess the technical capability to disrupt portions of Americans' election infrastructure, but that creating public doubt and confusion would probably be easier than secretly changing enough votes. All I know is when he lost to Biden, here's a guy, Biden, who couldn't get he couldn't fill a room. He couldn't get 24 people in a room. And Trump's having mega rallies, and Trump loses. Now, something's wrong. Has to be wrong. Let's see. Disable. Again, this is talking about Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, as well as capable non-state groups. Recommended defenses, strengthening basic cybersecurity and access controls, separate election systems from ordinary county or municipal networks, scrutinize vendors and supply chains, protect voter registration systems and electronic poll books, Maintain proper ballots or audible paper records. Conduct post-election audits. Prepare rapid and credible public communications when disruptions or false claims arise. The bottom line, the memorandum is a serious warning that American election infrastructure contained exploitable weaknesses, especially in voter databases, poll books, and public-facing reporting systems. In one sentence, the document establishes credible vulnerability and adversary capability. All right, we got to do better as a country. We got to have elections of a first world country, not a third world country. Isn't that right, Mr. President? I got to bring you back to the birdcage, right? Right, Mr. President? Absolutely. Huh?
You have to trust your country, because if there can be no trust, there can be no greatness. And that's very simple. No trust, no greatness. Every American deserves to know that when they cast their vote, that vote will be counted accurately in a system, and that is to make that system secure. All we want is honesty in our elections and honesty in reporting, because no country can be great without fair and honest elections.
And once again,
demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act.
All right, thank you, Mr. President. And that is the vote vulnerability that was in the title. We're back outside. Oh, beautiful overcast. Nice. We got comments. I know. We'll get to the comments. What time? How long? 1 hour, 44 minutes. Let's see. Where did I leave off? Pavel. We're on the community. You're now deleted lights out for the. Oh, well, no, I did a quick stream. Let's see, I got the thumbnail for that thing. I put this up. Where are all the YouTubers gone? It wasn't only about Jax. It was New Bro Show and the Diner, and nobody was on except the Kiwi. What going on? So, and then I took it down because it wasn't up to snuff, really. I mean, it was just a quick, I was on my way to the fitness center. I just thought I'd put something up. That's all. Not a big deal. No, listen, I was generous towards a YouTuber, and that's fine. I have no regrets about it. Back to your comment. It was a gift, so he gets to do what he wants with it. What do I think of it? I mean, again, there's no guardrails, and it's not my channel. I'm not associated with the channel. I got him up and started. He's got his platform. He's got a Playboard account, and he's got some graphics, and, you know, he can do what he wants with it. It's his channel. Let's see, larger audience. Yeah, I do want to. Well, you don't know unless you try. So I have to put up material that appeals to more people. And I got to look at the views that I get from it. And if anybody wants to be a guest on the show, it's what is my email address? It's in the description, but what's my email address? It's right there, DOXXreport@outlook.com. That should disappear in a minute. Here we go. Comments. Pavel is continuing his line of questioning. Well, discipline's important. Diligence is doing the job well, but you have to put some time into it. I mean, I spend some time doing this, putting it together. So I can do a show. I could turn off the comments if I wanted, but then, you know, you got to encourage audience participation. You'd think they would stick with the subject matter, but some are interested in it, some are not. But it has to interest me, or I'm not going to put it up there. Well, listen, he's got medical issues, you know, serious medical issues, and he's working, so, you know, you cut him a break. But it was kind of a bizarre show last night, I must say. Well, again, he's got other things to do, Pavel. All right, well, that is your show. That's your DOXX report for today. We touched upon a lot of things. Villages, Central Florida, U.S. It's Trump, Bessent, Secretary of Treasury. I asked him, that credit union, I said, well, when did I join? It was 2013. So, but it's gone. All right, so let's see, what are the markets doing? Let's give a market report. S&P 500 down 0.04%. That's nothing. Oil is up a little, 3.3%, 86, essentially $87 a barrel. But I looked at my, oh God, I turned that up, hang on. But I'm looking at my 401k, very nice. I mean, I'm doing well. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. All right, thank you. Let's see, 1 hour, 50 minutes. Thank you for tuning in.
Demands that Congress must pass the Save America Act.